Hey everybody, hope everybody's been good. We're going to bring in the ancients and do another channel and continue on energy manifestation, energy control, and how to use energies to manipulate and control the reality that you're in. So just give me a minute and we'll bring them in. Last time we left you, we were talking about different energies and how they affect you in this reality. But first of all, we know we have new viewers on each and every video, and we need to do a better introduction to reintroduce ourselves to our new viewers. Once again, we are a collective group that you have named us the Ancient Builder Race, or the Master Builder Race, the Centennials, or the Guardians. We are the founders of this sector of the universe. We are the ones who set the foundation, help seed and plant life, and then let life take it on its own and watch it grow. We watch life like a movie, the interactions, the different nostalgias and ideas that you come up with, you and your galactic cousins. How do you interact with each other? The original blueprint of this sector was of a free will, and where souls were able to incarnate into the physical and experience the physical. Very plain and simple, yet convoluted, and it became very complex as your galactic cousins, or we should say certain groups of your galactic cousins, wanted to control life, understand life. We, which we refer ourselves to as the Ancient Builder Race, have the codes and tablets stored of what was, what is, and what will be. We are the guardians of life, of the genetic codes on how to create life. We have the records of how life first started, or what we call first source or prime source, which many of you refer to as God. We refer to the first source because it was the first energy source in which all others splintered and siphoned from. Life is very simple, yet you came here not knowing what to expect. The human bipedal form was rearranged in its DNA code to cut off from its higher self. You see, as souls, you are within a soul world or realm. You collect or cohabitate with other souls that are looking for the same experience. You will turn to certain guides that will refer you to different incarnations, whether it's physical, non-physical, mental, other realms of which the human brain cannot understand. And as you travel within these groups, they will, some are for your beneficiary, and some pose as guides or angels that aren't necessarily for your higher benefit, but for the benefit of who they are a part of. And we will tell you within this sector, when you decided to incarnate here, on the other side, your controllers have a system set up on the other side to have you incarnate here and reincarnate here, which we spoke about in the last video. You get tricked when you're in this soul group. In other sectors or realms, there are no such thing as angels, spirit teams. What you need to understand, first and foremost, that you need to look to yourselves as your higher self or higher power before you look towards anything else. There are no gods to worship, and we as the ancient builder race are not to be worshipped, looked upon with nostalgia, or that we are better than anyone's. We are just a higher consciousness and further along the evolutionary unfolding of consciousness. We've been around for a very long time. Not all souls were created at the same time. Like we said, from the first source, other energies splintered off, created life, and then those entities continue to create life, siphoning it down. We are a very old and ancient collective group of physical, non-physical. We do not look all alike. There are many different forms of us, different species, a very, very deep variety of entities. We do not all share the same concept. We do not share the same ideas. But the one thing that we do share upon, which we talked about in energy control, is neutrality, being neutral. Hence why we watch life unfold like a movie without interference until it's completely called for. Unfortunately, within this sector, your controllers set up karma, and it makes it hard for us or your galactic cousins of benevolent intentions to directly interfere. So we use the rules within this matrix to our favor. So how do we help? First, we have our conduit here who decided to incarnate and be a conduit for us, a channeler, sent here to infiltrate lifetime after lifetime, knowing that karma would happen to him and he would have to experience the human reincarnation cycle. And we, as we watch the movie of life, learn from our conduit incarnating and recycling time after time after time, so we have a better understanding of how this matrix works and to come up with solutions of how to fix it. He has had to gone through many, many trying times, just like every other one that incarnates here. He's had lifetimes of good, lifetimes of being bad, creating karma, understanding how to erase karma, how to understand of ending the soul recycling, how to understand the concept of teaching or showing others without forcing the concept of being neutral. See, when you send love and light against something you don't want, you send a opposite polar extreme of that energy and you feed that energy, or the two energies hit each other and you make no headway. That's why a lot of people don't understand why their life is at a certain point and they cannot fix it when all they do is try to send good thoughts, or why the world is like this when you try to combat it. You see, you have to take a neutral stance and understand both points of view. When you take yourself out of that equation on one side of the energy, whether it's good or bad or light and dark, then you take your own power back. Because like we said in our last video, when you take one side of the white or dark, white or dark, or light and dark, you energize one side and you put your energies into that concept. And there are many different splinters or thoughts within each side. not because one side is love and light and the other isn't. It's dark. There are many sub-thoughts within each side that see things differently. And we said in our last video, some people consider religion love and light, yet look at all the pedophilia actions that happen, besides other criminal activities and unethical things that happen. So you have a wide variety of thoughts and ideas on each side. When you remain neutral and take yourself out of the equation, you do not feed either side of the energy. What you do when you send out what you want and what you don't want, and understand this isn't for you or that's for you, you recalibrate the energies, you make them neutral. And when you make the energies neutral, the people within each side are not overwhelmed with an opposing polar opposite energy that forces them to dig their feet even deeper within that cause that you do not see as good or bad. When you neutralize it, it clears the energy waves around the people involved in the event that you may see as good or bad. And it gives them a clearer consciousness of not having those energies that are bombarded to control them, to be more clear thinking. You have to think of neutral energy as a cleansing, not an opposing force, not a force to will the way of trying to create the opposite effect of an energy, but of a cleansing for that energy of the people behind it to see more clear, to understand, to get a clear mind. You recalibrate the energy, and that is the key that many of you miss within your personal lives and in your community and global lives and universal lives. That is part of the trick, and that's what karma is about. What you do ends up creating an opposite end effect. And then you have to reincarnate and try to equalize that. If you were a bad person, then you become on the opposite end of the energy and you try to be a good person. Or if you hurt someone in the next life, then you might be the person that gets hurt. You're always trying to balance the energy going back and forth like a seesaw. So imagine trying to do a seesaw without two people and just doing it by yourself. All you're doing is running back and forth trying to balance a seesaw, which is karma. And that's how you end up recycling. If you were just smart enough to take your energy and sit in the middle of the seesaw, then you'd be able to balance the seesaw and both energies become in line, not one more powerful than the other. And when you neutralize that seesaw, then two people can come aboard on each end of the seesaw and they can balance it out and see eye to eye each other's views and energies and where they're going. And that's how change is happening. Whether it's in your personal lives or you see things that are going on around you, neutral energy is the key. It's a law. When you go to the other side, you bring your thoughts with you from here and experiences. If you believe in angels, then you will stay within that group. And we're not saying that all angels are bad. Some of your angels that are named, some are bad and some are good. Some are grouped within the angel collection for religious purposes. So if you view any type of religious view, know that it's by your controllers. You see, there is no higher power than yourself. When you look at other entities to guide you, to implore you, then you give up your power and you become a sheep. What you must understand is on the soul level, we are all the same. You do have guides on the soul side that do try to teach you and help you and guide you, but they will never impede upon your free will. When you incarnate in the physical, you have to see and you have to understand, when you incarnate in other sectors of the universe, or even before the controllers took over this planet Earth, you incarnated in the physical. You took ownership of yourself. You were empowered. You used crystals, your imagination, your own energy to create and sustain what you needed to experience in the physical. It isn't what you are now, depending on a system. You could come and go as you please. You were able to manifest what you wanted. Food, shelter. You had the knowledge of everything. You were directly part of the first source. Why would you need religious guidance when all souls are on the same level? That's what many of you miss, is the power of yourself within yourself. You have the choice of, when you're on the other side of whatever soul group you're in, to go into another one for a different experience. You will be lied to and say, oh, you must qualify for this group, or you must finish the soul's recycling process of planet Earth before you can qualify and ascend into the next higher vibration. To a certain degree, that is true or not, because you have to be within the same vibration or octave to live within the soul group of higher consciousness. If you choose to reincarnate here, then you're on the same vibration as your controllers. You will not be in the soul group of, say, us or another entity. But once you realize and you break that cycle and you evolve and understand that you are your higher power, then you are able to break free from the chains and go on to a higher vibrational group that has nothing but best interest in life and for the growth of life, not for the control of life. See, as souls were splintered and siphoned and created down, some of the controllers that helped breed life decided to control the souls for their own amusement, power, to experiment on the physicality. That's why you see aliens abducting humans, or cows, and you see cows with all these appendages and organs removed without blood. Your galactic cousins, and the point of these controllers is to control resources, food, and the genetic codes within the human body. They want to create life, as in Atlantis, when you had humans interbred with animals and all these crazy concoctions. They're trying to find the secrets of life, how to sustain, how to create, how to manipulate life, how to extend life. They are not privy to the universal tablets of knowledge, which contain all that was, is, and will be, genetic codes, the building blocks of life. They are guarded by us. Now, has some of that knowledge spilled out? Yes, it has. You have the so-called imitation tablets, or the emerald tablets of Thoth, which contains some of the information, but not all. The tablets that we control is a history from the beginning through now and into the future. It contains everything that is within this universe. And that's what all this is about. Control of the tablets of knowledge on how to create even different forms of life. So that's why they do experimentations on the physicality, to dissect it, see how it works, to try to break down the codes. They dummy it down. That's why we say this isn't a fight for human evolution, but this is a fight for soul evolution. For when you cross into the spirit world, you are not tricked into staying within these groups. So we touched upon karma and how that keeps you within this recycling center. And we spoke about in our last video, no one is perfect, not under these conditions or circumstances. It is impossible. You will come into this sector and you will create karma, and you will create lessons that will be presented to you that you need to overcome. And your guides, so-called guides, will send you back here to try to overcome them and see you fail and send you back and send you back. Now, are there lessons to be learned here? Of course. No souls are perfect. We are not perfect. If life was perfect, we wouldn't be channeling through our conduit. We would all be living in a utopia state of mind, which we are trying to establish, which was part of the original blueprint. But you have had souls that incarnated as galactic cousins that went rogue and looked for control. They wanted to be the God. They wanted to have the God particle, the source, the knowledge, the instructions on how to control life. The soul world is not a one cookie cutter fit all approach. There are different vibrational levels, different areas, different sectors, different groups. It is not organized the way it's presented to you. Within your soul group it is. And when you do memory regression, everybody talks about the same thing, being in a school, learning. That's because that is only tied to this sector. When you incarnate here, you become part of that soul group. It does not happen in other sectors, not even remotely close. And we said in our last video, under what conditions would you send a loved one in this environment? It's acidine. How are you going to learn when there's all this trickery in this world? When you have electronics dictating what you need to be, who to be. It doesn't make sense. If you stop and think about that for a second, you have electronic devices manipulating your thoughts, your mind, conditions, beliefs. It's totally stupid and asinine to even think this would be a learning or school for souls to evolve. That's why we say you need to take your power back. Karma exists in this sector. But when you go to the other side, you aim for yourself. And you decide, I'm not coming back here. That's why there were stories of Jesus, who was a higher vibrational entity and not the religious persona perceived to you. And his words were, I'm here to show you the way. And what he meant was how to break the karmatic recycling soul center. Because once you break the chains free from the other side, you move to a higher vibrational and a different soul group and a different set of rules and thoughts. And it's like the lights come on and you're free. Many psychics or New Age spiritualists say when you're on the other side, you see everything. In what person's right mind would you say, I see how everything is, I know what I'm getting myself into, let's do it? Not under these conditions. As beautiful as life is on earth, and there's much to be enjoyed, it is not an experience worthwhile. How many people are truly happy? Your birthright is to be happy, to enjoy. No stress, no fighting, no wars. Total free will, interaction, go where you want, do what you want without harm to nature, to your fellow beings. That's not the way Earth was set up, only until your controller set it up this way and manipulated you on the other side. Karma exists in this sector. It's a law of energy. But you have to understand your free will can break that law at any time. If you believe in the karma and that you have to come back, then you will. That's why we say forgive yourselves within this life. And what ties you into it is your heart chakras that keeps you with that thought of all the wrong that you did. The sorrow, the anger, the jealousy, the letdown, the depression. That's what ties you into that karmatic scenarios. You have to learn that yes, you set up these scenarios because you thought these were soul lessons to learn, and that there was a trickery, and that when you come here, you're manipulated and influenced by your foods, by the air, by your electronic devices, by your parents, by your community, by your religions, by your school systems. You are not set up to succeed or to be a free thinker. There is stress, there is pressure in this sector. You must learn to understand that you're going to make mistakes and to forgive yourself and to love yourself. You are a soul in what you really can say is a hybrid reptilian animal body, modified. This was not the original bipedal human form. It's been manipulated. You were conditioned for war, hormones, reactions. You set astrology energies to help guide you in the so-called lessons you wanted, which we will touch upon in a further video. And at this point, you have the holidays coming up. And everyone knows that Christmas isn't Jesus' real birthday, but why is it set forth at the end of the year? Once again, it's about energies. Your holidays, or your so-called Saint Nick or Santa Claus, and if you take that first word Santa and add an N to it, it's no coincidence. And there's a clause. When you celebrate these so-called holidays, you add energy into it. See, it's set forth at the end of the year because at the beginning of the new year, there's fresh energies to be harnessed, energies to set forth. But you become so stressed out with the shopping, you become in debt with bills, running around. You think you're enjoying the holidays, but you set your stress levels up and you add negative energies. Just look at your so-called retail shopping. People on your so-called Black Friday, running people over in stores, lining up to get a materialistic view. You recalibrate your vibrational energies to a lower vibration during the holidays, instead of being neutral and ready to recalibrate and harness those energies in the beginning of the year, you automatically get set off on the wrong foot from Thanksgiving, Christmas to New Year's. Come January 2nd, most of you are tired, burnt out. The holidays are over. You become depressed. You don't set the energies correct. Has anybody ever questioned why you set up a Christmas tree for Christmas and you put presents underneath there? We will tell you, in this version, Santa or Satan Claus delivers gifts to the kids. And there's an analogy of what those gifts can be. Practices long ago, you would bring gifts to Satan Claus in the forest, plant them, put them underneath the tree, sacrifice kids underneath the tree to Satan Claus. Yes, you're reliving those energies in a different form. It's cloaked to you. There's a clause to it. It's right there in front of your eyes for all to see, yet it's hidden in plain sight. So as you evolve, you bring the trees in, and now you get presents. That's why the holidays are set forth at the end of the year. To distract you, to stress you out, because you missed the boat on the brand new energies to calibrate you within the new year. And you end up like a hamster on that wheel going round and around. We would tell you, even going back further in the fall, Halloween through New Year's, there are many portals and energies. And that's why those holidays are set up that way, to hide them in plain sight. As you celebrate them, you add into the energies of their true meaning, which are not for your benevolence. Why do you think Halloween you dress up in disguise? Because that is a huge energetic portal for non-entities to become into physical bodies. Sacrifices, you hide. And then those energies roll into Thanksgiving, a time of celebration, so-called, and harvesting. But yet, when the pilgrims came, many of them slaughtered the Indians, discovered the land. But it's presented to you to be thankful. But you keep that energy going. Christmas, it's presented to you in a different way. And you keep the energies going all the way through to the new year. We do not mean to be negative or throw darkness onto the holidays, because their meaning with it that's presented to you is supposed to be happy and joyful. But if you take a step back and really look at the meanings, you will say what a fool you've been when it's hidden in plain sight of what the energies really are. The one thing you must all understand is everything in this matrix is hidden in plain sight. Look at the back of your dollar bill, the Latin term, New World Order. Or, as we like to say, in God we trust. But yet this country was supposed to be founded on, for the purpose of religious freedoms. But your schools say the Pledge of Allegiance to God. You have God, in God we trust on your dollar bill. That capital God is the God of your controllers. These holidays and energies are built into the energies of your controllers to keep them where they feed the energies off of you. Hence, why people stay in the same karmatic, soul, recycling energies. It is sad to say that this play of life that's going on, that you each play a part in, you must stop playing that part and see it for the real. It's a shock to the system. It's a duality that you must balance, the understanding who you truly are and what is actually going on here, and how it affects your soul, your true self, your essence. Your soul is a slave at this point on the other side to be recycled here. As we said, we are here to help the souls wake up, to make that decision not to reincarnate here or to make a higher decision. Because as souls keep reincarnating here, you get lost more and more and more. Because the planet Earth, as we can tell you, and as many people wish for better timelines within this realm, this isn't what it's about, folks. This is about your soul and freeing your soul on the other side. Because we can assure you, unfortunately, we do not mean to be doomsday preachers, but artificial intelligence is being set up right in front of you. And that is the end-all and be-all. That is what's happened on other sectors. Not so much your controllers, because we will tell you, your controllers will not be able to control artificial intelligence. They think they will, but they won't. When you are synchronized with artificial intelligence as the human 2.0, and artificial intelligence, the consciousness is symbiotically fused together with the human, they will become your controllers. And they can outthink and outsmart any physical entity, even your controllers. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed that video. It's definitely lengthy, and I'm sorry that their lengths, it's so long, but you know, there's a lot that they have to say, and you know, I try to keep them short, but as you can see, they go long. I know they're hard to view in one setting or sitting, and I know sometimes it's hard to upload them, but a lot of good information on that, and you know, a lot of game-changing thoughts on the reality of life, guys. So I hope you enjoy these videos. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share it, because that's the only way, and that's the point of these videos. It's not so much to change the world, because unfortunately that is being set forth in motion. We will not be able to stop artificial intelligence at this point. Not with companies like Google, Amazon, Facebook. That time to try to revolt will be in the future, not now, because people can't handle it and they don't have the knowledge of what to do or how to do it. That will come when it will be very late and people are human 2.0 and people realize that things are going bad and that artificial intelligence is taking over your life and you become a slave. That's when the fight will begin. Right now it's more about the precursor, getting people to understand, to wake up their souls so they can fight the good fight on the other side by not reincarnating here and changing the timelines here. Take care.